64 Chevelle. Let me give you a little update of what we got going on. Drums had to be turned. It's got new bearings. The grease had like sand in it when we pulled the brakes and stuff off, because it needed upper and lower ball joints. It's got new end links. It's got a new gearbox. This one, we got ready to drive it the other day, and it had fallen way down. It had, I guess, like come apart inside here. Praise God we didn't drive it. Could have been bad. That's new. The link, the sway bar, not the sway bar link, but the tie rod link that ties the end links together. We're gonna get this bumper off this morning and get this old gas tank out. But if you'll notice right there on the floor, it's got a damp spot. Well, I want you to look, see if you'll be able to see. You can see that you can see how dry it is right here, and then it gets wet. Let me see if I can shine you a little light in there. Look at that. That brake line is rotten, and what little bit we drove it has already burst or rusted through. The pressure has split, and so it's got to have new brake lines. I'm gonna put new brake lines on it, get the gas tank off of it, because the trunk pan and stuff, everything's here. Trunk pan, the drop-offs, inner and outer wheel wells, and we already had the quarter panels, but everything's here to get started on this one. Probably gonna cut it apart next door. That's what I'm thinking. Cut it apart, make our mess over there, because we got the air turned on over here, and then may pull it back over here and weld it up in the air condition. I don't know. The humidity's been heavy lately, but if you can do stuff in the air condition, that's great, because it makes you feel better at the end of the day. Anyway though, the client, he's coming by today. We're going to talk over a few things and see where he wants to go next, but we got to get this rust replaced, because it definitely, it is time for it to be cut out. Trim is off. Trunk is empty. If you don't know how to get the trim off of a 64 Chevelle, there's your clips that it clips on. The whole perimeter. And then back here at the back, that curved piece, you can see it's got little clips that the nut screws on. Well, there you have it, folks. We're gonna clean up in here and pull this thing next door and do the old hack attack on it. We're just gonna hack it apart, cut it apart. Got new trunk pan, quarters, inner and outer wheel wells, and the drop-offs that go in under here. Trunk drop-off. This is one thing that don't come with the new pans. You always have to cut that off and weld it onto the new one. That way, if anybody ever wants to put the original jack back in, they can. And those oval pieces, they don't come either. Those there look like they're reusable. If not, we can order them. They're not that expensive. I'll give you a little midday progress here. So we pulled the back seat and stuff out, and the door panel, or the rear panel on this side, because this side here has got a little bit of damage. If you've ever put in a inner and outer wheel well, you know that they are a lot of work, I think, because your trunk can drop down and everything when you cut it loose. Give you an idea of what we got going on inside. We've got our pan laid in and fit. This side we just pulled the pan back out. It was fit, and what I done was cut out what was needed, and the client, he's fine with that because that will save him some money. That will get rid of the rust but save him some money. This here, once the pan and all goes back in, you know, it's got to be welded in. Everything is, if you've ever done quarters, it's kind of like a trial and error. Well, it's, you fit it, you pull it off, you fit it, you pull it off. The new quarter and all has been fitted. I normally come up to my edge, but since this one's got the fancy trim, I'm gonna have to come in. That makes it a little more difficult, but you know, it can be hammered and dollied and ground and so forth. And what we'll do is grind down what's been welded in. The pan, which is right here, came with new braces that wasn't welded on. So we put them in place and run a couple of screws, and then after lunch, that will be drilled and spot welded to the panel, and then it'll be laid back in to make sure that nothing changed, and it will be fit back and get tacked in and weld this side in. Well, that looks better. No, it's not on. Look at what we found today. If you go fishing, sometimes you'll catch a fish. We went digging and we dug a hole. That side is in and ground down. Quarter, I'll come in the morning and do a little bit of work on it. This new bottom needs a little work on it, the drop off, to make it fit just right. This one here is put in. The new piece is put in. Got the screws, that way we can back them out one at a time, drill a hole and spot weld it in. The brace, the new brace is spot welded in. The pan is ready to be trimmed and cut across here and fitted in, but look over here. Would you just look at that, Mama? Look. Ooh. So come in the morning, do a little more digging. It's kind of discouraging. A little discouraged about the back glass, but we'll get it out. Probably replace this panel right here. We'll see. Looks like there's some holes, some small holes. From underneath, it looks like there's some silicone in the little holes, like where your clips go. So tonight I need to order all new clips for the back glass, and then I need to order these little plastic pieces for right here, because for right there, because they're kind of like a one-time use clip. When you peel the chrome off, it breaks what latches, and then need to dig into this. It's been siliconed also, so just have to wait and see. So we got the back glass out. Cleaned up this channel. This side over here, once all the gunk was cleaned out, you can see it's got to have a piece made So what we'll do is we'll just make us just make it, it's into the body panel actually, see. So I was looking for a straight edge where I could explain it. Yeah, I got a straight edge right here. So you can see that it's straight, but when you come down to where it touches again, right there, see how the bodies actually eat out in that gap. You can go online and buy pieces that's already made, but by the time I order, you know, we've got this new piece. We'll just have to, we'll make us a piece to fit in up here. Might have to make the whole thing, probably not, probably just make us a piece to go right in there. And then we'll see what, we'll get this off, see what the new one, how it should end right here. So we're about gonna have to make a piece and put the right curve in it. And then see, what makes it so complicated is you can bend a 3/4 by 3/4 piece in the metal brake, no problem. Measure you out 1.5 inch wide piece by, let's say that's 10-12 inches, and bend it in the middle, and then all you got to do when you get down here to the curve is put it in the shrinker and let it start shrinking the curve, and you just keep checking it. Well, the thing of it is you've got to get the trim out, the actual stainless, and make sure that it fits and is correct back on the curve also. So it's a lot of checking and holding the trim up. It's a lot of back and forth, in and out. Let's see what we can get done. Let me show you what we got going on this morning. You know what was here, that panel. So I like to cut out the bulk of an area with the grinder. It's fast. Then I go back in, see all those little, you see those little yellow marks? That's where the spot welds are at. That'll get drilled out, and then it will be easy to break apart that little bitty L that's left from this piece right here. You can take it apart, you can go through and drill with it all, but it's just a lot easier, I have found, because like I can take and cut right here, get 2 or 3 of them drilled through, and then take this piece right here and wiggle it back and forth, and they'll pop loose. And then if there is one that I've missed, say there's one right here, that piece of trim will bend. You know, it's not gonna break it loose over here if there's still one right there that I've missed. And then that little old flexible piece of trim will just bend right there at it, and then you know what you've got. And then this right here is the same way. It comes apart, it's spot welded through to this inner panel inside. The big downfall in doing these, in my opinion, is you need to have the paint and know the paint that you're going to paint, so that you can go ahead and fix that before the back glass goes back in. On a 64 Chevelle, you've got to put all your clips in first, then set your back glass, and then put your trim on. The back glass needs to be mimicked to the right height with the trim, you know, as it goes across. This here is going to be a little more difficult because, you know, it started eating away right in here. We're going to have to make a piece and then probably make a piece right here. The 68 Chevelle that I restored about 3, 4, 5 years ago, the real dark blue one. Well, the only 68 Chevelle that I have restored with a black vinyl top. If y'all have seen any of the videos of it, all of this was rotten. Had to make all of that. Takes time. Time costs money. Money breaks the heart and the bank. All right, we got the top pan off and the piece that folds over into there, into the trunk. There they are. You see all the spot welds, about every 3 inches or so, 2.5 inches. And then the same way up here, about every 2 or 3 inches. Check this out. See if I can get you down in here and see. Check those out. From right there to right there. 14 spot welds. Oh, you want to see again? Let me drop you back down in there. See them? It's crazy. Crazy if you ask me. That's all I got to say. All right, we're back at it this morning. And I got all the spot welds off over here. It's not painted or nothing underneath. It's just been cleaned up some. But I wanted to get, I was thinking, you know, I had to trim it right here to get it to slide back so that the back glass would fit. But I was thinking to myself, I want to show them, because I know the owner will watch this video, and I know that he trusts me because the vehicle is here. But for the others that don't really understand why it costs so much, is the original one of this was rotten, as you've seen in the previous video. So then what was welded through to the actual frame of the car, you have to take your time and clean it up good. If not, you're gonna ruin what you're welding back against. Same way, you know, right here. But anyway, I've got it fitting to where it's flush, but now I need to set my windshield, my back glass back in, and make sure that it will set in. And I will cut me some little, I think they're 3/8 by 1 inch blocks, and put in here to space it out, because you've got to have room enough for your clips. On a 64 Chevelle, the clips have to be put in first. Then your back glass has to be set. Then your trim can be put on. But you've got to make sure that the back glass is setting right, so that when your trim snaps down, it's not up too high or down too low. It's pretty much flush or level, you know, is the way we look at it. But anyway, that's what takes so much time, is I've got to get the back glass, and it's still got a lot of nasty stuff on it. So I've got to clean it up before I can lay it back in there, because if not, it's just going to get that stuff all over what I've got in there that's actually pretty clean. That'll give you an idea of why it takes so long and why it costs so much, because time is labor. That's just the way it is in this world. It takes time. Gaps look good. Gap across there looks good. Trunk lid gap to the new pan looks good. It's a little low right there because there's no rubber. And it's low right here because of the rubber. but that can always be adjusted back. You can see, like I said earlier, it's a lot of work because we had to put the trunk lid back on. This right here has been screwed down into place. I cleaned up the glass and I put the tape on it to just help protect it. That way when you lay it back down on the stand, you ain't got to worry about if there's possibly something on the stand that would scratch it. But this right here needs to come up. I don't have anything. I could run a bead of the sealant and build it up, but then that would just make a mess. Once the weld and stuff is fixed, or the rotting's fixed, and this pan is welded in, when it goes to body work, this right here will be raised up and make sure that the trim and stuff fits it correctly. Because see, I don't know exactly how the trim fit before, because when it came, it didn't have any. But it's gonna look good. Now we just got to take everything back apart and get this welded into place, take it back off, sand the bottom, paint the bottom of this and the inside of the pan, which is up inside there, and then put it all back together, weld it up. You know, it's just a never-ending process of put on, take off. All right, so we got our piece laid back in. It's not completely fitted back in yet, but I was going to show you a couple things that I've done in the past, like when I've had to make a new piece. I cut it in a V. That way when you hold it down like that, by the time you get a good weld, it will just about fill that V up. When you grind it down and then put the new rubber in, nobody will ever know. If you drill a hole like we've done up here, the hole, it'll just melt out anyway and kind of look open at the end. So it's just the way I've done it in the past. We've got everything sprayed and got the outer edge with the weld through primer. Rest of it's painted black. Time to get it locked in. Let me show you what we got going on. So Dylan handled the welding. We marked about every 2 inches or so, maybe not exactly, pretty close, with a small bit, actually a small screw, and then carried it out there and made the holes bigger, and we sprayed the weld through primer where it's going to weld, and down here. Well, down here I cut the V's. Well, I showed him, he finished cutting the V's. So once they're welded up, you can see that it's good to go. Once that's blasted out, and the new rubber and all goes in, it'll be perfecto. So what I done was, naturally up here I used this grinding stone, 3/8. But in this tiny area, you don't have much movement. So what I done is I used it to remove the bulk of it. And then I took the little cutoff wheel, and then you can go in, so you've got a lot of movement then, and then you can let it drop off of that edge and clean up. That way when you seam seal it, you don't rip your finger open. Just a little tip. We got a couple spots here to drill the holes and weld up, and then the welds underneath here, up inside there. I tacked them while he pushed down, and this panel will be DONE done, and then it's off to the races to cut out the rust and have a lot of fun. Well, this back here at the back, we're just about done on our time for this one. So when it comes back out, we're going to store it. When it comes back out to work on it again, we're going to put it down the hill where the new lift is at. Blast everything that's been welded in. All inside, everywhere. All in there where they had previously worked. We're going to blast and clean that out, and then grind and clean up what they left. This here, oh my, what is that, you ask? That's where this was at. I cut it out as gently as I could. You can see where it went in like that. You can see it had a couple spot welds there, and then it was so rotten it had a couple spot welds right in there. But you can see it was supposed to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8, the piece was so rusted through that they had already separated. So I don't know that we will get this fixed right here on this time card or not. But what we'll do is we'll make a piece that'll go in and go ahead and fix it to where it has the curve to match that over there. And before it gets welded in, we'll see what we need as far as sheet metal. Going to have to fix the spot because this has started rotting, and so it's actually thin. So we're going to have to do surgery on that area. Just wanted to give a little update on that. No, they're not welded on. They're just bolted on. So they are ready. See the X's? That's where dents is at. I got to hammer and dolly them out. They are ready to be welded on, but we are time's up on this one for right now. Trunk pan is in. Dylan went through and sprayed just regular black paint on all the welds. That'll preserve them to keep them from flash rusting. I mean, it's going to get blasted, but it'll be easier to knock the rust off of the welds than it will be to knock the flash rust off, or so we think. Turned out pretty good. Back panel's in. Y'all see earlier in this video of what it is, what we got. And then over here, you can see where it's been cut out. We'll catch it next time. And then this side is on. So we just got to get it cleaned up inside, vacuumed out, move our fireproof blanket, get the wheels back on it, park it in the building until next time.